What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin on the one-day time frame. Right now we're sitting at $10,510, and we hit that critical support area. And what I want to do is talk about price action off this critical support area. We're going to get into trend lines, the 200 moving average, a major back test that's potentially taking place here, and why we still have to be cautious in this area right now. Okay, so if we step out, what I want to do first, give you this picture. So we've had our macro breakout. This is our macro trend line. We broke through. It was on heavy volume. Many times we come back and back test it. We've talked about that a ton. You have that throwback. We found support right off that support level. And then this is what we've been watching over the past week, the reaction that has came out of this. We want it to be on heavier volume, and we haven't got that. So what's the most important thing for us right now is to turn this reaction into a higher low and to find support right off this second trend line that I have. Basically, this is a fanning technique on your trend line. So this was my first trend line. Once we had that break, we talked about how a lot of times you'll back test it. We actually didn't get back to that area. We came close, but we back tested it. And now we're trying to see if we can find a higher low than the area of this cluster of wicks. If we start dropping below this cluster of wicks, this 200 moving average and $10,000, guys, it could get very ugly very fast. And the reason for that is 10,000, we want to hold it as major support. If we drop below that, it could act as major resistance. Same with the 200 moving average. We've been trading up above it since April 28th. If you lose that, it can start acting as major overhead resistance. And then also, if we drop down through this area, we'd have the macro downtrend that we broke out through acting as overhead resistance again. So as we look at the crypto space, we know it's controlled by the whales. It's manipulated, guys. You have to realize that. But you want to set yourself up in the best opportunities. And that's why now we're paying attention to this area. As a longer term investor, you still want to be sitting in those positions. If you're looking at this for the long game, that's where you're still up above that 200 moving average. We're up above $10,000 right now. We're still patiently waiting for that next push to the upside to see if we can get a higher high, because right now we're just having those lower highs that are coming in and we have all this overhead resistance. That's why it's going to take buying pressure right now to set this higher low and then potentially come back up and get that higher high. But this is how the market works, guys, and it works with these whales. You can see each time the pumps come in, the volume's very similar. And what's happening is they're putting their money in, then they're taking it out, then they're shorting, and they're just going back and forth, and they're the ones controlling this market. But what I like about this uptrend that we've been in, it hasn't been as straight up as many of the other ones, where these massive blow-off tops, we just go straight up. Look at last time. If this really could be the start of a nice bull market for us as we just continue to progress and then get that next higher high over top of 12,305. But it's going to take time, and it's going to take time to see if we do set this higher low right here. Right now, we're still waiting for the candle close, which is not going to be for another 10 hours or so. So we have a lot of time. But right now, if we did close like this would be a bullish Harami pattern, and we'd have to see with confirmation if that's where our bottom was. Had a little bit longer wick here, potential bullish Harami. We want to see a lot of penetration of today's candle into the previous day's candle. The more penetration we have into this candle, the more powerful this would be, that this is our higher low, and then we potentially can go back up and get a higher high. So it's kind of just that waiting game right now, patiently waiting. And I know there's a lot of people who were selling up at the top here at this head and shoulders, and now they're looking at these wicks and stuff. They're laddering back in, getting into a position. And right now you're waiting just to see if this is going to be our higher low. If we get into the technicals, and also, guys, if you get some from these videos, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate you helping the channel out. So right now on the one-day time frame, we're looking at a 13 sell, 9 neutral, 6 buy. Moving averages 11 sell, 1 neutral, 5 buy. Oscillators 2 sell, 8 neutral, 1 buy. If we go to the week, we still have a buy signal. We have a 5 sell, 10 neutral, and a 13 buy. And people ask me about this. This is basically adding up and doing the math on all the oscillators, what they're showing, if they're neutral, buy, sell, and then all the moving averages from the 5 up to that 200. And you can see in the longer term, we have a buy, in the shorter term, we have a sell there on the 5 and the 10 for the 1 week. And then you can bounce out to the 1 month, which is pretty cool as well. And you can kind of look at that long-term forecast, and you can look at the short term, the 4 hours right now. So that's something I like to do, all my technical analysis, then look at that and kind of just see how I'm lining up. And that's about where we're at right now. We're just patiently waiting to see which direction we're going to go. You know, is this going to be just a weak reaction, then all of a sudden we have a flush down? Or are we going to be strong and the bulls are going to step into this area right here, set this higher low, see if we can go up and set a higher high. So really watch these areas, guys. We're looking at 10,120 as support. Overhead resistance now, we're going to have to flip that 10,789. That's going to be red. That was an area we wanted to hold, and we have dropped down through that. And right now we're fighting with the 100 moving average. So we're fighting with the 100. We're up above the 200. We have the 20 and the 50 pressing down as overhead resistance here. And now these are our lower highs, and you could probably draw a trend line there as well. But, you know, really watch for that volume. We need big swells of volume. So if you get something from this, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Be patient. That's the best thing you can do in this market. Have a plan. God bless you all.